Bertie getting his energy up to show us around the garden. Yes, and we're off. That's it, Bert. I'm following. I do love this group of wild tulips. These are wild to Crete in Greece, but they also occur in Turkey and other parts of Greece. These are tulip saxatilis. Saxatilis means in rocks, growing in rocks. Rocky, you can imagine rocky, very hot hillsides with these things springing up, but they got to make do with North Devon. They spread well by underground stolons, sort of runners under the ground, and can form quite a big patch, as they have here in amongst the peonies. Also associated in my mind with this time of year is this perennial pea, Lathyrus vernus, the spring perennial pea. It comes in mainly this colour, but it's also, you can also find it in pale pink and white. But I found those to be a bit weak, whereas this one comes back year after year, not scented. Not a very big bush, and it's been here about 10 years. The multicoloured effect is rather attractive, isn't it? But the new flowers start off purple, and then they fade to this sort of blue colour before fading completely. Now, looking through the rather attractive young growth of this shrubby chestnut from the southern United States, I have spied some bright yellow flowers, which I will investigate. These turn out to be belonging to a shrub called Kerria japonica, and it's a member of the rose family, and you can probably see that in the somewhat rose-like flowers, a bit like canary bird. Now, commercially, this is mostly available in a sort of double pom-pom, Kerria japonica plena. However, this one with the large single yellow flowers is called Golden Guinea. Very attractive. And we've come up against a shrub with fairly arching stems and pleated leaves with single flowers, which is another member of the rose family. Now, it looks a bit like Kerria japonica, which we've just looked at, and indeed some botanists put it in with Kerria, but this is rhodotypos scandens, means climbing. Quite attractive white flowers, but honestly nothing much to write home about. I see popping up through the leaves is a Trillium I collected originally many years ago from the Blue Mountains of Virginia. And I really love seeing it appear every year. Last year it had 2 flowers, now it's gone back to 1, but this one is really quite large. This wake robin, as they call it, is the pink version of Trillium grandiflorum, and this is really confined to where I collected it, in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia. I think it's very attractive. From Valdivia in Chile comes this fantastic Berberus with its dripping orange flowers. Forms quite a big tree. Been here about 15, 16 years, I would say at least. Certainly up close, the flowers are definitely very profuse and dripping. Above the reed, I spy a branch of this rather sweet rhododendron, unusual rhododendron. Smallish flowers, goes by the name of Rhododendron auritum. There it is, quite attractive, unusual, Rhododendron auritum. Later on in April, of course, the yellow or cream magnolias start flowering, and this one is a decent creamy yellow, goes by the name of Yellow River. Now coming in closer, it's a good yellow on the bare branches, so you can actually see the flowers without the leaves interfering. Puts me in mind of the early American hybrid called Elizabeth, one of the first yellows to be developed. Yellow River. Now covered in flowers this year. I've never seen it so covered. It's the bitter orange, hardy citrus, called Poncirus trifoliata, the 3-leafed Poncirus. It has these little tangerine-like orange fruits in the autumn, but and rather lethal spines. But my goodness, it's full of lovely scented flowers at the moment, and a real picture. Behind the tennis court border, I noticed a laurel-like small tree which is flowering really well, and this is from Madeira. Laurel forests used to cover Madeira, called the Laura silva, and there are very few pockets remaining. This one comes from one of those pockets. It's called Piconia excelsa. Leaning over, rather, I think they've been pushed by the wind. There's this pair of myrtles from Chile. They lack the beautiful trunks of the Myrtus luma, but they do have lovely fragrant flowers. And even when the petals drop off, the calyx left behind is a sort of red colour, which is rather attractive. And the new growth is a gorgeous bright red. The scent is amazing, standing here. This has changed its name from what I used to know to Myrtles luma. And while we're thinking about scents, here is Viburnum, which has been flowering for ages. And the scent is amazing, sort of a cinnamon spice. And this is Viburnum and Russell. In contrast to the rather blousy Viburnum and Russell, here's one with very delicate little flowers from China, which are very faintly scented. But is nevertheless quite charming. This one's called Viburnum Chingii. If it's colourful new growth you're after, well, this is your chap. This is a loquat called Eriobotria deflexa. And the new growth is just lovely. A bit on the tender side. That's its drawback, really. But it's well sheltered here. Remarkable that you must never give up in a garden. I was just wandering down this bit of the garden I don't come down very often, and I discover my variegated white honesty is flowering here. I had it in the long border many years ago and I thought it was lost. But no, it must have survived, seeded itself and arrived down here. Isn't that great? I do like it. It really brightens the place up with its white flowers and white variegated foliage. Every year I wonder whether this delightful little nasturtium is going to come back and blow me down. It suddenly appears. I must say it is rather sweet. Almost like a little face. Tropaeolum tricolor. Walking along the path, one's eye is arrested by this fantastically bright white azalea interspersed with the bluebells. They've seeded themselves inside and up they pop. They may get a bit of a nuisance, but I think it's a lovely combination